Hello, everybody. It's Renee here, independent demonstrator, and it's Monday and it's around 3 o'clock. So here I am with a triple offset stamping. As you know, I'm going to hold the screen for just a bit while I go on Facebook Live, which is my 3 o'clock on Monday. But I'm going to be talking about the triple offset stamping using Peaceful Deer, Snowflake Wishes, Snow Wonder. All right, those are some of the sets that you'll see today, besides some other ones from the past. But there's different ways of doing this, and I'm going to show you a different way, another way to do these triple offset stamping. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, and I'll see you in a few seconds. It's 3 o'clock. And I have some stamping for you, triple offset stamping. And let me go ahead and show you right away where we are. Happy holidays. This week is Thanksgiving, and I can't wait for a beautiful Thanksgiving Day. So anyway, we're going to look at some triple offset stamping and some ways of doing that. We are going to be stamping, and we are going to show if you use some designer paper. These are some that I did last year at about, I believe, the same time. And this is pretty much a classical way. Many people have done this. I use designer series paper a lot of times as the backing. And with all these layers, it's a fun technique, and you can either stamp or do with designer series paper. So that is some of what I'd done in the past. And I did this just yesterday. And this is a different way of doing it. And I'll be talking about the dimensions in just a moment. On the inside of this card, I did a little bit fancier than usual. I kind of keep it simple, but this time I did not. This stamp set, which is going to be continuing, is the Merriest Moments. I love this stamp. This stamp is just gorgeous. Of course, along with the poinsettia flower and the various leaves. And it just is a great set to work with. The DSP in the background is I believe is the Tidings of Christmas. And I'll be using more of that today to show you a few things as well, which make me pretty happy. I like that paper very much. It's very, very nice. So, all right, let's go ahead and start working a little bit with what I want to show you. The first thing I want to show you is the one that we're going to stamp and how I do that. All right, so this is Pool Party. Isn't that fun? This is a fairly easy card to do, actually. And again, this is what I'm trying to do on my lives, is give you guys some easy cards, especially for the holiday. If you notice on my last card, I did not use any designer paper on the overall background. I just kept the evening evergreen. I believe it's called evening evergreen. Yes. And I stamped with evening evergreen and cherry cobbler. And of course, that's a gorgeous ribbon that is that evening evergreen as well. I think that's what it's called. Evening. Yes. And so what I have here is some older DSP from last year from the Snowflake Wishes. And I love that designer series paper, and it has some pool party in there and Pacific Point. And so I decided to use those colors. This is a standard card, all right? And this card, I'll put this to the side so I don't mess up. This is a standard card here. And so this piece is a 4 by 5 1/4, which one can glue on. And we will do that. But first, what I want to do is I want to talk about these pieces. Okay, first I'm going to give you the white cardstock. There are 3 pieces of white cardstock. They are 2 by 4 1/2, 2 1/2 by 3 1/2, and 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. And that is what you would use. Then what you have here is the designer paper behind it is going to be a 1/4 larger. So it's a 2 1/4 by 4 3/4, and then 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. You can make these an 1/8 smaller if you like, to make it a tighter fit. But this is kind of what I decided to go for. The way you do this triple offset stamping is the first thing is to make sure that all the pieces fit. And this is what I'm going to do. If you see, I already put some little glue dots here so I can position this correctly. So I'd want it about here. I'm going to put it in the center and quite a bit over. All right, because of spacing. So quite a bit over. And that's my 2 by 4 1/2. And then I'm going to take that glue dot top off again and put this piece in, which is the 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And I'm going to put that definitely more further over to the left than from the center. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to put my last piece on here, just like this. Now, the reason I do this is so that I make sure that I have enough space and I'm kind of equal. So this makes sure that I have enough space. And I see here that I probably could give myself, that's why I do a little glue dot here. I see I can give myself a little more space here, that there was still plenty of space. So I can move that over just a hair. So there you go. Move that up a little bit, kind of center that, and then do like that. Okay, so now my pieces are basically glued together, or not permanently glued, obviously, they're just there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a couple of glue dots again and make sure it's adhered to my surface down here. And I'm going to use my grid. I do like to use my grid to make these straight so that I know they're fairly straight here. That is important. So here and here and here. Yeah, that looks pretty straight. And then I start stamping, okay? Because I know that's going to fit. Okay, so my triple stamping now, I am ready. Now I'm going to show you what I did with the Snow Wonder, because I did do that one already, but I'm going to show you how I do this. I do this in 2 colors. All right, and to keep the colors of the paper. And this method is fairly simple, using a little dauber. Little daubers are fun. I use daubers for fine gluing on my delicate dies. And I use daubers right now when I have these large ink pads to go ahead and mix the colors without affecting the ink pads. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take I'm going to use the Snowflake Wishes to show you just something different. And with this, I think I'm going to use this one right here right now and this one, and then I'll see what I need to do after that. So this is how you actually, if you've really not done a background stamping, what you want to do is you want to take your largest stamp and stamp that first, and then go down in size. And the very last thing you do is the smallest. And so just like with this, there were 2 size flowers. And so I did the large size flower first. All right. And then I did the smaller flower, poinsettia. And then I did these at the very end because they were the smallest and I could fill in. So go from large stamp to small stamp. And I want to show you that right here. When you're doing 2 colors, it is good to have one lighter color and one darker color. That is the wise thing to do. I'm going to use my D block. I'm finding that sticking up in the corner is helpful for centering, and I find that a lot easier. So the first thing I do is I go ahead and I put it in the lighter ink. All right. And I do want I think I'll be okay. I thought because it's a photopolymer, I thought I might use a backing, but I think I'll be okay. Then what I do, I take my little dauber and I just put it in the ink here, and I decide where I'm going to add the blue. And I'm just going to add the blue at the tip and the center, let's say. All right. And I put that to the side. And I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to stamp in the corner first. I always do corners, stamping in the corner first, just like that. And there you go. That's your first snowflake. And then I go back into the light blue ink because that blue is pretty much gone in the pool party, I should say. There. I didn't do it as much this time. And I'm going to go ahead and put that right here. Now, if you wanted to put your sentiment on this part of the card, actually, versus having another piece, what you have to do is actually put the sentiment in first and then go ahead and stamp, because it gets a little too complicated if you don't do it that way. So again, here, I'm going to go ahead and just do the center. Make sure I'm all right. I'm going to put it down here, that one, like that. Okay, and you pretty much don't really want that to move much. I think my glue dot either disappeared or I forgot about it, one or the other. And I think I'll just put one more. And I did put it in the dark ink, just the dark. And I think I'm going to stamp off that, just like that. And just put one right here in the center. There you go. I didn't want it to be that dark. So then I can clean that off. And I can go ahead and use the smaller one. Again, I want to make sure it's kind of centered. So I see some ink there. So I'm going to use my chamois, I will tell you. The chamois from Stampin' Up! Is fantastic. If you did not get the chamois from Stampin' Up!, I suggest it. It has many, many utilities. Here I'm just going to do first just a few light ones. Just to put that in there. Got some ink. I'm going to move that over here. I'm just going to put some light ones in here. And again, this is where you don't worry about going off the paper. That's a good thing. And then I'll put one more in like that. Yes, there may be one right there, right at the edge there. And that would be that for that one. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to get another snowflake. And I'm going to get the smallest one I can, I feel. Now, I could use a multi-snowflake, but I think they're a little too big. So I'm just going to use my smallest one. And this time I'm going to just go ahead and put it in the dark ink. And here I just start filling in. And that's all you kind of do is you start, and you don't worry too much. Make sure it's completely, oh, that was the wrong ink. That happens when you're using two inks. Just go ahead and stamp. It's really kind of fun. And I'm going to go here and stamp. Here at the corner, see, just do light. There you go. I think that's it for me. All right. But now I'll show you how that goes together. Whether you use, now you might say, well, it doesn't look like it coincides exactly. Well, that's okay, because what happens, I'll show you this one. And you would put it on the background of the pool party. Again, I probably will not glue this in front of you because you don't need to see me. So I would glue this down first. Okay, glue that down. Then I would glue this down and make it equal in there in that space. Okay. Now, of course, I would have put it, the designer paper first on the pool party and then start building up, just so that you're aware. It's one of those things that I think you don't have to watch me glue, just takes more time. Then I'm going to butt it up pretty much to where that space is. It's kind of what I do. I've already done my measurements. That part's all done. So it's just going ahead and doing this part. And then I put that right there and I glue that down. And then I would glue this down. Okay. Again, this is just some old paper. But of course, you can use any paper you like, especially we have some gorgeous paper this year. So that's kind of, I think I'm going to go in just a little bit more for our snowman, which you are looking to, especially this last piece, you want to make sure you're kind of in the right spot, like right there is where my right spot would be. And so I got to take that, sorry, I got to take this and put that over some more. So like that, and like that. Yeah, like that and like that. Butt it up right to the edge of that nose. And then that comes in right there, just like that. And it looks like you've done some really fancy work. And of course, I bring this over a little bit so that it's kind of equal on both sides. And that would come in a little bit more. Go out a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Something like that. And there you go. I mean, that's pretty much all you would do. And then you would go ahead and finish. Your card's pretty much finished unless you would want some kind of, you know, other embellishments, ribbon or something like that. But I really don't think a card like this needs anything more than what it is. And so that would be that one. And of course, if you want to see what we just did. So this is this one. And I would put it right here. To make sure I'm close enough to the edge here. Because it does, I do just leave a small edge on that designer paper. It's not a big edge there. Center that like that. There you go, something like that. Glue that down. Next piece, butt it up right there. Then take that next piece and put it on, glue it on. Then you take this piece, put that down and glue that on. Now, because of the fact that I did not leave a space, what I typically will do is simply cut another, see how pretty that is, isn't that gorgeous? I think that's so sweet. What I would do then is simply, let's take these scissors and cut this up. I would literally just take a piece of cardstock and I would simply go ahead and place my sentiment on there. And I typically will place it somewhere around here, right in here is where I do that, so that you can see actually that it works nicely right there. It also goes nicely in the center, and you'll see some other pieces that I have. I kind of like it right there as well. So you just go ahead and decide, do I want it lower like that, just great, or do I want it more centrally located, a little bit off center, something like right here actually is where I would put it. And that's it. That's it. For Hanukkah, as we know, Hanukkah is coming up. And so these blue snowflakes and the snowflake wishes and the snow wonder is great for Hanukkah season. And so I think if you have some friends that celebrate Hanukkah, what a great card. It's just a winter card and we are in winter. So what a way to wish them a happy Hanukkah. And there is actually a happy Hanukkah stamp, but it did come in a paper pumpkin. And sometimes it's kind of why I like paper pumpkins. There's some little surprises. I think it was last year's, there's my dogs. I'm so sorry. There are my crazy little dogs. But I think the Happy Hanukkah is right in this one, I believe. And so it was in a paper pumpkin. So, because I know it's not in the current one that we just got, but it was in the previous year. So I believe it's this one. All right. So, let's see. I believe that. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. Okay, so that's those. And again, if I am wrong, I will put in the messages where that Happy Hanukkah stamp is. All right, so let me just show you real quick some other ideas just so that you can see some of that other DSP using the merriest moments and the tidings of Christmas paper. And that was a lot of fun to do. And again, here now, instead of designer paper, I went ahead and used the merriest moments, and I used this one, and I used these. I love the berries, just love the berries. And you can see that I didn't go wild over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stampings and 3. And so I decided not to put again DSP in the background, but decided to go ahead. Here's some of that paper from the tidings. That is the front of this, and that is the back, and always a great compliment. And so here, if you wanted to match these up, I'm sure you could, but you will be match up like we did with the triple offset stamping. I'm sure that you could, but it would waste a lot of paper to get the exact pieces to match up. So I don't even try to do that. But with this one right here, you go right here with the DSP, and this is all DSP. And this is the same measurements from the white one, exactly the same measurement. And then here is that little label like I talked about. Here's just a little label that I can put right in here or at the bottom, or you can decide where you like it best. I like it a little bit off center and a little bit lower. It's kind of me. Off center and a little bit lower. But look at the great card. Very easy, quick, very simple. And again, if you don't have a mat for stamping, the piercing mat for stamping, if you bought a paper pumpkin or bought a kit box, you usually get this chipboard, and this chipboard is the backing for stamping when you stamp with photopolymers. It really is wise to do that. Another thing I thought that I could do is, instead of this here like that, I could go ahead and use this holiday cheer, but that would depend on you. And again, I'd be using that punch or put it right up here somewhere. So that is another way of doing this triple offset stamping. Although we're not stamping, we're using this. So the other one that I wanted to show, I think this is the last one. This one here, I went ahead and showed a little bit different again. And I used some papers and some cards and envelopes from last year. Now, if you were a customer last year, you might have bought the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper, and you might have some. And I used from last year these old, but they were selling these cards with envelopes, and they are vanilla, and you might have those. And so I felt like, well, if you have those, you might want to use those, and I would show you how that looks. And so here again, you would go ahead and put that in there. And you could get these to match up. But again, to do that, I think you would waste a lot of paper, and you might want to do that, and that's fine. You might go, well, I'm ready to use up this paper. I want this paper gone. That happens too. And if so, well, that's perfect. So you can go ahead and work on making those cuts and everything fit. But I do think it'll be very difficult. If some of you have a way to do that or know a trick, please share. I'd love to know the trick if there is one, because I think that would be cool, but I don't think that will happen. I will show you one thing when I did the other one, because that one worked to do that in just a second. So I got that kind of situated, as you know, and so then here you go. I have my little joy. And again, just offset that a little bit and have that come down here. And there's my joy. I can put my joy, this is a very discreet little joy on pearlescent paper. Thought it was really pretty that way. I might put that right there, actually. Just like that, and like that. And like that. Isn't that sweet? So if you have this cardstock, then you're good to go. If you're a paper pumpkin fan, instead of the poinsettias, you can use, if you remember, last year we had the Joy to the World, October 2020. You can use that flower, okay? And the other flower that you can use with this flower that works really well, which was a paper pumpkin, is the June 2021, the Impressions one. So those flowers make a beautiful card. And one of my friends made one with the stamp, and I'm sure she's going to be posting soon. So you can maybe see that on my Facebook thread. Well, that's really what I wanted to talk about. I really want to show easy cards. And again, they are 2 by 4.5, 2.5 by 3.5, 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. That is the white cardstock. And then the backing for those cardstock pieces that you can stamp on or whatever is 2 1/4 by 4 3/4, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And so I think it's a fun method. I hope you liked the new stamping technique. I think it's very clean and very easy to use that dauber. All right. And so for today, I will say goodbye on my live. All right. So goodbye and thank you. And I hope you enjoy this video and it's helpful to you. All right. So that was my live. And remember to please like if you found this inspiring or made you want to make one of these cards. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day. You can look under the directions to if you're interested in being on my group Facebook. Everyone is welcome. Every card stamping and journaling, you are more than welcome to join my Facebook group, which is called Renee's Paper Crafting, and I'll have that listed too, along with other stuff. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.